Welcome back, everyone. Is your deck starting to look old, but you don't know what to do about it? Don't worry, I've got you covered. As you can see, this decking is old, it's rotted, and it's very unsafe. The framing of the deck is actually still pretty solid. So what I'm going to do is remove this old rotted decking and replace it with Trex decking, which is very easy to use and very high quality. So first things first, let's remove this old decking. Here I'm using a Sawzall, hammer, and a crowbar to cut the stuff up into smaller pieces and rip it all off. Now that the decking demo is all done, I head to Home Depot and I buy some new joist hangers. These joist hangers hold up the joists, which hold up the decking. And as you can see right here, the old joist hangers were all corroded and fallen apart, so it's very important for safety reasons that I replaced all these. And keep in mind, always call a professional if you feel like a project like this is a little bit over your head. There's no shame in that. Here you can see I added another joist for support, and to the left of that joist you can see the decorative piece of decking that I've already installed that goes around the outside like a picture frame. But that piece of decking is now in the way of me being able to screw down the regular decking. So I added this joist, once again for extra support, but also to give me a new place to screw down screws, and I'll explain what I mean right here. Here's a bird's eye view of the deck that I'm working on, with the deck on the left and the house on the right. There's our load carrying beam that goes across the middle of this deck. And here are our joists that go front to back. This span between joists is a little bit too wide. Also, I'm not going to have a place to screw down the end of the decking when I go to install it. So that's why it's important that I put an extra joist in this space. If I don't put a joist in this space, I'm going to have nowhere to fasten down the end of the decking. Also, it's going to create a very unsafe condition if someone steps on that piece of the decking, and here I'm going to explain that. Here's a little anatomy of how a deck is built. You have your decking, you have your joists that go beneath it, and you have screws that screw down through the decking into the joists. But as you can see on the left side of this decking, there's no joist beneath it. So what am I going to screw into? What's going to support that decking on the end? This is what would happen if there was no joist underneath it and I left it as is. Someone would step on that side of the decking and potentially fall through, which is very unsafe. So you can see here, I go and I add an extra joist. It gives me a good place to screw down the decking and creates a lot of extra support beneath the decking. And don't forget to install this waterproofing joist tape. This is going to give the framing of your deck extra protection from the elements and increase the life of your deck. Alright, let's get started with the decking, and this is where I start. I measure the entire deck, I then find the middle, and I build outwards from the middle. And the reason why I do that is because those edge decorative pieces I told you about, those can be trimmed down from the inside. Yes, you will cut away that slot where these screws will have to go into, but all you have to do is bevel out a little slot on that newly cut side, and all your problems are solved. So here's a closer look at what's going on. I've cut a bunch of deck boards to length and I slide them up onto the deck. I then take these fasteners and I slide them between the deck boards. You could see there's a slot or a groove between each deck board, and you slide those fasteners down, you land them over the joists and you screw them in. You also want to have a rubber mallet nearby just to tap things in and keep it tight. The reason why you want a rubber mallet instead of a metal hammer is because a metal hammer will smash the decking, where a rubber mallet is softer than the decking and won't do that. Here I ran into a little problem where I couldn't get the deck boards to fit beneath the door. And you can see the flashing beneath the door is lower than the siding there on the left where I had no problems. So I had to cut away a little bit of the deck board with my multi-tool to make it fit. No big deal, problem solved. The decking is complete, and now it's time to move on to the stairs. And just like the deck, all the framing for the stairs is going to stay in place. I'm just going to add a little bit of supportive lumber to help give me a place to screw things in better. And these stairs actually go pretty easily. The treads of the stair, or the part that you walk on, is just the same as the decking up above. But here I'm going to show you how I measure the riser. I'm measuring the height and the width before I go over to the saw and cut it specific to those dimensions. The final part of this is the front stairs, and the framing was a little bit crooked, and I knew that the screws were going to miss when I went to screw down the decking, so I added a whole bunch of extra lumber to give me plenty of places to screw things down, and it turned out fabulous. Well, that's a wrap for this video. If you found it helpful or enjoyed it, please hit that like button. It really helps out my channel and I would appreciate the support. And also, consider subscribing if you enjoy homeowner and DIY content just like this. And with that being said, I appreciate you tuning in once again, and I'll see you next time.